Hi there. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use a company code or an access code for a user to get within the app or to get into certain sections of the app. So from the sign up screen, we will sign up. And once we sign up, our first screen is a company code. So your user cannot get past this section if they don't have a company code or an access code or some sort of keyword that they have been provided. And that could be provided via word of mouth, that could be provided through an email. So you could have it set up that when they sign up, they are given a sent an email or a text message with a access code, and then that access code would have to be input here in order for them to move to the next step. In this situation, this is for a company code. There are multiple companies that you have access to this app, and we don't want somebody from company A to access company B's information. So you would have to input a company code in order to get through. So in this case, I'll put in my company code. And you'll notice that now a submit button has come up. Once I've input a correct company code, so obviously you'll want to put it somewhat unique. Once you input a correct company code, you can hit the submit button and it takes you to a screen or off to the next section of your app. The nice feature about this also is that if you already have an account and you go to log in, you won't have to input that every time. We've set it up so that it stores your company code and you would just go directly to that screen. Let me show you how this is set up. In our collections, we have our users collection with the basic information and a relationship to our company collection. In the company collection, I've got the name and a company code. So we look in here, this is the name of the company, this is the code that's associated to the company, and then it has a relationship again to the user. And this way it will track how many and who the users are of this specific company and this company code. And you can see in the users collection, under that specific user, it will track what company they're with. So if you were inputting this information on the back end, you would have to select that. If you're using the app to input it, it would automatically note that testing at adalo.com is part of the Adalo company. It's pretty much that simple in setting up your database. The real key here comes in on this screen that you presented with the button. So these are your a basic text field, a text input, and then this is a button. The key piece here is that you make this button a list. So you're making this button a list of companies, all companies, and you're filtering it by the company code is equal to the input. Perhaps your phrase here is not company code, it's user code or access code. At the end of the day, whatever it is that you need to match the input with will allow the button to appear. So in order to make that button a list, you'll simply add a component. You'll select the button component, and then you're going to use these three buttons, and you're going to make it a list. Once it's a list, you'll define what it's a list of. You'll set your filters, and you will be all set to move along. You can change that so that it's just one, and you're good to go. Now, the really neat feature that we added in was that aspect of the screen going from login directly to the your in screen or the name of the business. In order to do that, we have the user login. We can't do conditional actions on the login very well because that information hasn't been stored completely yet or accessed. So in this case, you're going to link to an intermediate screen, and you're going to make sure that you link this with a none transition. That is up to you how you want that to be presented, but in general, you'd make it a none so that it's very seamless for the user. On this intermediate screen, you're going to set actions on the screen itself, and that is where you put the conditional actions. So you're going to say that you're going to link to the home screen again with no transition, so it seems very fast. If the user's company name is equal to empty, then link them here. Again, that should never happen, but perhaps for some reason they do not have a company name in their account and then you want them to come here and have to input a company name. I suppose that could be the sense if a organization sets up all of their users with their emails already in here, and now you want to just define which company they're with to ensure that it's set. You also have the other condition here is that if the company name is not equal to empty, please send them to this screen where you could then have your company information or certain access to the application in some form. So again, where do you find this logged in user's company name? That's in the users collection, and it's in the company here. And that's how we set that. We set that on this button under the components. So we update the user. When that button appears after a successful company code match, the button appears. When they select that button, it's going to update the user and note that the user's company is the current company that is part of that list. And then it would link them to this screen here.